Hello, this is my third beginner guitar lesson. The first one was this exercise. And the second one was just my explanation of the circle of fifths and the major scale. So today we're gonna get into a few things here. The main thing is gonna be just showing you guys the major scale, and I'm also gonna show you guys how to play a few chords as well. But the first thing I'm gonna show you is how to tune a guitar. You're gonna want to use a digital tuner of some kind, maybe one on your phone, something like that. But when you tune your guitar, just slowly turn the tuning pegs. And you want, if you tune upwards in pitch, then the strings will, your guitar will stay tuned a little better. So if you go past the note that you're trying to tune to, then you just want to bring it back a little bit and then tune it up a little bit. Like right there, I went past, so I just bring it back, twist it that way, and then slowly turn it forward. For this exercise, you're going to want to be in tune, because part of this is hearing the So, whenever you're playing music, you're almost always going to be using a scale that reflects the key signature. In the previous lesson we talked about C major has no sharps or flats, the key of C has no sharps or flats. Now if we play a C major scale, it's in the key of C. If we play a G major scale, it's in the key of G. So what I'm gonna show you guys today is how to apply that. And I kind of breezed over this in the previous lesson, but I'm gonna actually show you guys how to do this. So our first figure is gonna be the G major scale. And the reason we're doing the G major scale is because the chords are easier to play along with it, simply put. This is what almost any teacher is gonna show you for the first chords that you're gonna play. So we did this exercise, and we have one finger for each fret. So when you're playing the G major scale, you're gonna start with your middle finger here on the 3rd fret of the low E. And I'm just gonna show you guys, it's 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5, and then it continues 2, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 3, 3. This is a really good one that you're going to want to get under your fingers here, because it's applicable to in so many scenarios. So what you want to do, if you have a metronome or something to keep a steady pace, you're just going to and then back down. Okay, pretty simple. So since this is G, the 3rd fret on the low E string is G, that means that we're in the key of G. So when you're playing the notes in the G major scale, they're gonna sound good with a G chord progression. If you look at the first note, it's G, fourth note is C, and fifth note is D. So if those are all major chords in that scale. We're gonna get into that in our next lesson. But for now, just know that the first chord is a major chord. Your fourth note, the chord that pertains to it, is a major chord, and then your fifth note is also a major chord. And you'll see all the time, here's the open chord version. So now I'm just going to show you guys how to play those chords. The G chord is the 3rd fret on the low E, 2nd fret on the A string, and then you're going to take your pinky and go all the way down to your high E on the 3rd fret. Since the E string, where the 3rd fret on the low E is G, then playing the same fret on the high E is also going to be a G. So if you look at the notes, it's G, B, D, G, B, G. So G, B, and D are the notes in a G major chord. That means you could play it just as long as you have those 3 notes, then it's a G major chord. Now, this just sounds the best because the more notes, it's more reinforced, but there's situations where you would only play small portions. And what you want to do is just practice getting that comfortable and pluck each note individually and make sure that every note rings out. If a note doesn't ring out, then just practice putting that, if it's, let's say it's the high E, it's not working, just take your hand off and then try to put it down and pick it. Put it down and pick it. Like 1 and 2 and 3 and. Obviously slower than that because you're just learning, but like a special technique that I was taught when I was learning jazz guitar is you smack your knee, grab the chord, smack your knee, grab the chord to a metronome. And that'll help you to be able to change chords quicker later, which is a pretty good thing to be able to do. So on to the next chord. The next chord is a C chord, and that's going to be 3rd fret on the A string, which is this second one down. So it's 3rd fret A string, 2nd fret D string, which is the next string down. And then the B string is your, this one. It would be the 5th string. If this is the 1st, then this would be the 5th. And then your high E would be the 6th. So you're fretting 3 on the A string, 2, 2nd fret on the D string, and then skip over the G string. That has, you're not fretting the G string. On the B string, you're doing the 1st fret. And when you strum this, you want to avoid hitting your high E, or you can even take your thumb like this and just kind of touch it, and it'll keep this note. See, when I try to pick it, it sounds like someone beating some wood, or I don't know. That sounded gross, but so now we have the G and the C chord. Now our final chord I'm going to teach you guys is the D chord. Now our D string is the 3rd string. If the lowest one is the 1st and the A string is the 2nd, then our D string is this 3rd one. So That's the root note of the chord, meaning that you don't need to fret it because it's already D. So what you're gonna do is 2nd fret G string, 3rd fret B string, 2nd fret E string. And with that one, just like the last one, you only want to strum from the D string down. The last one, it was from the A string down. This one's from the D string down. And you can do the same thing. Just make sure that these kind of make that noise. Then you can see I'm strumming all of the strings, but you can only hear the D string ring out. Now I like to just be accurate with my strumming, but that's a whole nother thing that you'll learn later on. So now what we can do with that information is we can play chords and then add melody lines between it. I'm gonna show you like a little bit of a country style thing. Those are just the notes in the G chord. So then we can just walk up the scale from G, A, B, and what I'm doing there is just between the C and the G for the bass note. You can exclude the bass if you want, you can just go. And simply put, you can just go up the scale between chords, or if you have a friend, you can just play the scale over the chords and it'll sound good. When you play over the scale, you're gonna want to try to play the notes in the chord. So if you have G, it's G, B, and D. So that's just as long as you stay in that general area, it's gonna sound right. So then if you're playing a C chord, then those are the notes in a C chord, and then you could bring a G chord in, and just kind of play around with it. That's a little bit advanced to add notes in between your chords, but later it'll be useful for you to know, okay, we're in the key of G, someone's playing a G chord, and then C chord, you'll know if you focus your melodies around the notes in the chord, then it's always just going to sound really beautiful and natural and give you that nice guitar sound. Now let's say you decide you want to play in a different key. We'll do the key of C, for example. Now when you play this one, that one, it's the same shape, but when you get to the B string, you have to shift up one fret. So when you're playing down here, your hand stays in the exact same position. But when you're playing a C chord or a C scale or any scale on the A string, you're gonna have to adjust and go. See how my hand shifted up one fret? So, simply put, if you find any note, you can just play that shape. And you'll be playing in that key. Now, the problem that we're going to run into here is, let's say you're playing a scale down here. This would be C, but not here, right? If we're playing in C up here, we can pretty easily. And those chords we'll get into later. The only chord that is different in that one is an F chord, but that's a pretty hard chord to play because you have this finger pressing down every one on the first frets, and then you bring all of your fingers are doing something here. So I'm not going to show you guys that until a later lesson. But let's say you're playing down here. So you can't, you know, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to that's gonna be a lot of work, but when the F chord shape that I'm gonna teach you a little bit later, when our hands are more used to doing chords, if you bring that down, then it's a C chord here. So that's the same chords as if you were to go. But it's easier. If I really wanted to, I could go. That's a little jazzy type deal. It's kind of they call it a walk, which is just, you have the bass, and it just goes up the scale. A traditional walk is going to exempt the second note in the scale, and you're going to have passing tones. Simply put, it's just in that scenario, you can grab, this is a G chord, but it's a G7, so it's a dominant chord, but and that's kind of the same thing, but that's not what I'm trying to show you. So the final thing I'm going to show you guys, what you're going to want to do is, when you play your G major scale, you're going to go G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and you're gonna just say the note name out loud. And you're going to do it slow enough where you can do it in time. And then what you can do is go up to the C, or start on the C, and you can play around the circle of fifths, which I showed you in the previous lesson. So you can go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And on that highest string, so when we're playing this scale, this string has just the two notes, and then dun 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 dun. So when we're doing this scale, the C major scale, there's the two notes, but then we shift up and then do the two next to each other. And that's 3, 5, 7, 8. That will take a little bit of getting used to, but it's good. So I would work on that, you know. And then, and you're gonna be saying the note name out loud and playing it slowly in time. Then you shift over. So you skipped F, got C, F, C, G, D. So now we can go D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. I was mixing up my scales there. So D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. And then from the D, we can move to A, which is just the note beneath this one. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And we can continue all the way down the circle of fifths. Now, at first, you're probably not gonna wanna, you probably won't make it that far. But when you practice this, it's insanely useful for you to do it the way I'm saying, because then you're gonna really mentally grasp, okay, I'm in the key of D, I have my 3 sharps, or 2 sharps in the key of D, I mean, and I know they're F and C. So then, later, if you're playing in that key, you can identify, okay, I don't want to play an F chord, I want to play an F sharp chord. However you want it, you know. So in the key of D, we have D, E, F sharp, G, A. But if we were to play an F sharp in the key of D, it wouldn't be a major chord. And that's what we're gonna get into next lesson. It would be a minor chord. That's our 1, 4, 5 chord progression in the key of D. D, G, A, and then we can bring it to an F sharp. And so later we're going to discuss the relativity between Y chords, or not the letter Y, but Y chords are major or minor. We haven't played any minor chords yet, but we're going to talk about why this is a major chord and why the second and third notes and the 6th note are minor chords. If you were to play, just to get this into your ears for a different lesson, here's the G major scale but played in chords. G, A. That's just from the 1st to the 5th note there, but kind of getting it in your ears, we can. It kind of gives you the idea of each note in the scale has a chord based around it. Okay, and we're gonna get into an explanation of how chords are built around notes in the scale. My name's Nick Gross. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I know I ramble a lot, but I don't want to leave anything out, and I kind of feel that it's important to have a longer lesson than a shorter lesson. People on YouTube are always posting these 10-minute lessons, trying to get monetization. I'm not here for the money. I'm just here because I love to play guitar, and I've always wanted to teach, and I feel like this is my way of, you know, demonstrating my teaching skills and building them up. So thank you guys so much.